Okay, folks, welcome to Feeding the Family. Sorry we got a little late start there, everybody, but we are here and ready to rock and roll. So thanks for being with us. I am your host, Jill Troderman. So we are streaming live from SantaCruzVoice.com. Still producing my own show. There's some stuff to iron out, but we got it all figured out, and I'm so excited for today's show. It's episode number 23, and I've got in the studio Doug Dirt Greenfield. So here's the question, everybody. Have you ever had that feeling when all of a sudden you realize that something needs to change, like drastically, urgently, and there is not another moment to waste? When you have that urge that you've got to develop new, positive, healthy habits, and that maybe you've been sabotaging your behavior, and you get that nudge to make some serious changes. Well, that is exactly what happened to my friend and local Santa Cruz, pretty famous, I'd say, in our local hub here, and probably around the world, Doug Dirt Greenfield. So Doug is here today, not necessarily as a fabulous musician that most people know him as, but as an inspiration to share his health journey with us. So welcome, Doug.
Oh, thanks, Jill. It's a thrill to be here, and such an auspicious task you have taken on in this wonderful podcast. Is that what you would call it, a podcast?
Yeah, so we call this a podcast radio show because we are live on the internet radio.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a wonderful thing you're doing because I know a lot of people who I know in my life have gone through their life's journey, and sometimes they just feel like they're in a rut and they cannot change and nothing is going to change them, and they kind of, I won't say that they'll resign themselves to experiencing life in maybe less than optimal, healthful experience that they could have. And I was one of those people, for sure, was just going, I used to tease my friends and say, I've turned the corner, I'm coming into the home stretch. And though I do wonderful things on this earth, and I play music for children, and it makes a difference, and I've been doing it for 40 years, and I've played in a lot of different musical groups, and it's such great medicine for people to have music that gets them to dance and lift their spirits. But the truth is, as far as a nutritional experience in my own life, I was definitely not taking good care of myself. And it showed up in major ways, like major health stuff. Major. And I can go through it, and I will go through it with you. And so there was just a point where I just was like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it was just a divinely, in my opinion, I have a spiritual nature, divinely moment in time where everything sort of lined up, and I met this person that was doing a lot of great regenerative health practitioning guidance work. She was an old body worker friend of mine from 20 years ago back here in Santa Cruz, and I hadn't seen her in 20 years. And there I was on a nude beach, and it's a great new beach on the Big Island, and I was naked. She was not. She was with her beautiful family, with her husband and three beautiful children, two beautiful children, and we just got to talking, and we were old friends, and so we were seeing each other, and she just started to share what she's about. And I just had a natural curiosity, and she said, well, I still do body work. How about we do some tomorrow? And I did. And then she said, I really, I also do acupuncture. Perhaps you'd like to experience some of that work. I have a clinic. The next day did it. And then she said, I think I'm seeing things as an external things like toenail fungus, and just seeing into my eyes. She's definitely is an iridologist, and I said, I'm looking at your tongue, and I would like to see your urine. I'd like to see what kind of clarity you have going on. She just started, and she just said, do all these various things over a couple of days. And then she said, and she wrote a protocol, just a protocol of like possibility. She was not pushing. She was not telling me what to do. She just offered this glimpse into what she saw was happening internally in my body relative to obesity, which I was 70 pounds larger than I am now, fungus and parasites and such that were raging in my body, which I was not aware of, and general issues about sleep, apnea, cholesterol, all these various manifestations of not having a very healthful approach. And she wrote out this protocol, and there was just this moment where I went, you know what? I'm ready. I'm willing. And that's sort of the bottom line. Like, am I willing or not? And I was not willing. I'm 68 years old. I was not willing up to that moment. And she didn't say anything too radical in her approach. It was just like, this is what I see. This is something that you could do.
That is fantastic. So it was almost like this auspicious moment, like you said.
No doubt.
Right? That she was there at the very right moment when you were needing help. And you from what I understand, I didn't really share with our listeners, but you have a very deep history in the music industry, right?
I do.
And so you are one of the leaders and the former of the band, the Banana Slug String Band. So that's an original 4-piece band, and you're all together. Still
alive and still going strong, 40 years
40 years. So if you haven't heard these guys, please pull them up and listen. They have influenced children, millions of kids around the world. I know for a fact that's true. And then you also play in a really super fun band, the Puffball Collective. I'm a big fan. Love dancing to that.
Thank you.
And Slugs and Roses. I think that might be a Grateful Dead.
It was a Grateful Dead cover band. We ran 10 years, did 300 shows. It was a force. That's been quiet for a while now, but
yeah, go ahead.
Made a lot of noise for a long time, and we had a blast. It was really fun.
I bet you did, and just musicians in general have that notoriety of maybe partiers and staying up late and like kind of living this wild edge. And now that you're on this health journey, do those two lifestyles go together? And was being a musician partly one of the reasons that you ended up having some health issues, or no, separate?
Well, my health issues go back much further. My health issues go back to childhood, really, which was a very chaotic childhood. My parents had a lot of mental health issues. I call myself a feral child. I was basically in a survival mode. My father was manic depressive, very suicidal. My mother was a very severe narcissist. And there was a lot of very difficulty in just getting parented properly as a young person. So I was a Swanson's TV dinner guy with Velveeta cheese, bologna boats, and peas in the top, and that was like a killer great, nice dinner. And that was going on for a lot of years. Just survival, kind of, and no nutritional understanding, really. My grandparents definitely, I lived with them because it was so unstable. I lived with my great-grandfather, too, which was pretty amazing. And so I learned certain things about nutrition, but it was always kind of like a fear-based stuff. Things were scary, I was scary as a child. So I would eat quick. My great-grandfather used to say, "Where are you going to? What's the fire?" And it was kind of like a fear response. So that goes on into like it led into really compulsivity issues with food, and that went into as I went into my 20s and 30s, definite issues of just feeding on not nutritional, but mostly on emotional, and that the compulsivity thing kind of grew in itself. And there's no one has an understanding exactly of how that all comes to being, but it definitely was happening. And so that led to obesity, which led to lots of different issues with cholesterol issues and sleep apnea and lots of things. I ended up getting a hernia, and then I ended up having surgeries, and then that ended up I threw a DVT, and actually I ended up with a pulmonary embolism, and there was quite a spiral down. And I want people to hear that, because when people who know me and know me as one of the principal players of the Banana Slug String Band, which plays music that teaches about love of the earth and teaches about nutrition and teaches about growing your own food and taking care of each other, and it's like we're huge proponents of that, and I believe in it strongly, and we have albums about about it. And it's not that I didn't have an understanding about it. It's just that I had a serious issue with lack of knowledge about nutrition and definitely compulsivity issues. And the combination was pretty lethal and it almost killed me. Like DVT is a serious thing, and pulmonary embolism, very serious thing. And my health was, like many, many problems. Lots and lots of, because of lack of nutrition and eating strange and copious amounts of carbohydrates and sugars, and had led to lots of inflammatory issues with all over my body. And again, I was clueless, and I'm a huge dancer. That's another thing about me. So I love partner dancing big time. And so, and it's a passion. It's a deep passion. My great grandfather was an incredible dancer, old Jewish radical communist dancer, an old tailor. He was not much to look at, 5 feet tall, Coke bottle glasses. But if his wife died of 20 years, he went dancing all the time. He kept a lot of widows alive in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he was an influence on me. I was just like, wow, he's having such joy dancing. So I got in my system. So then I loved dancing, and I would dance, but I always ended up with having to ice my knees, ice my ankles, having all kinds of pain. I had orthopedic surgeons saying, dude, you're heading on a fast track to getting hip replacements and knee replacements and ankle replacements, all kinds of stuff. In a lot of pain all the time. Advil, ice, elevation, every night after I go dancing. So I say all this because I want you to get the picture of, like, it was not a pretty picture. Mm-hmm. I was living a life that people that looked at me would go, what a beautiful soul, what a good man. He's doing this work for the earth, with teaching children about environmental and science and taking care of the planet and each other. And then he goes on and he does this dance music, which lifts people's souls with spiritual dance music. And, he's a very kind and great soul. Well, I am, and also I was killing myself.
Right.
That's a fact.
You're like the walking wounded.
It's a fact. And I was not aware. I just wasn't aware. And then there was a point where I was very aware, but going, that's it. I had a great run. I did a lot of good, and I'm probably heading toward a spiraling downwards thing. Another
thing. It becomes normal, right? I mean, you just kind of like tolerate.
You just go with.
Many people do. They just tolerate, this is the way I'm going to be, and it just is what it is.
It is what it is, and you really don't have it's not like you're giving up per se. It's just that you don't know any better. And even if I did know better, which there was plenty of people that were in my ear, there's beautiful healing practitioners. Our town, Santa Cruz, is filled with these, including yourself, of course, that just are really trying to help you to get a better grip on it. I had a person that did body work with me constantly was like talking about how to strengthen myself, but I just didn't have the will. And I'm a willful dude. I've created my own businesses, and I know how to, and I'm a father, 2 children. I totally love them, and partner, for 38 years. And it's been it's not that I don't lack vision and stick-to-itness. It's just that will is a very serious thing. Like, if you do not have within your system a vision of what it is you're really trying to aim toward in the way of nutrition, especially, it's evasive. At the very least, it's evasive. And also it's like, okay, that's out of the picture. That's not what's going to happen here. So that all said, as I'm experiencing all of this sort of downward trend, I'm kind of would say to my friends, well, yeah, I'm on the final lap. I've turned the corner. I'm on the home stretch, and my doctor, who's a wonderful person here in town, was like, there's some certain things, like you're going to have to probably deal with. Like, we're going to check your heart out, see about the things that are happening in there. It's just all your systems are strained. They're just strained because of the way I was just treating it. And I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink coffee. I don't, there's like a lot, I don't take drugs per se. And it's not like it's a large, like you were mentioning that, like, whoa, you're in that kind of rock and roll.
Right.
I was in the milk and cookie circuit. I mean, that's how I made a living,
Right.
for 40 years. That's a full-time job. That was a full-time job, still is. And
Yeah, you weren't drinking beers with the elementary school kids.
no, we were milking
No.
cookies all the way.
Right.
Probably more cookies than I should. But they were 4-year-olds. The groupies were like around your knees and holding you in the most spiritually beautiful place. So it wasn't that I was surrounded by all these influences that would take me down. But on some level, like you're touring, I've toured in 40 of the 50 states and 5 different countries. We definitely got out there. And the people, they love you. And so they want to serve you food.
Right.
They want to serve you love food that they love. And they cherish it. And that was very confusing. And food and love in the Jewish culture is a very hand-in-hand thing. So, grandma and all those folks is like, I'm creating this food for you because I love you, and eat it. And don't leave any of it either on the plate. So there's a lot of bad habits, a lot of really confusing thoughts about what's what. And then when I was on tour, there's a lot of people that are putting out a lot of food, and it was all the food that really I had addiction for through my compulsivity as an overeater. And it was a bad trend all the way. And I didn't think I could break it. And then I met this person.
Right, that fortuitous day on the beach. You think it was a cosmic event?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's first of all, I'm a firm believer there are no accidents, for one. And two, I won't be overstate. I mean, I could easily overstate it, but I have had a radical rearrangement of my life. I mean, in every way, and I'll be spelling it out. But a radical rearrangement. For one thing, the suggestions that were made to me about nutrition were things that never crossed this lip and never got into my brain ever before.
Okay. Are you going to share some of those
Of course
things?
I am.
Okay.
So she was just suggesting she of course is taking her name is Leah, Leaia. And also I've known her from the past as Lauren Borowski. And, she has a whole beautiful program that she does. And I was one of her clients, and she basically said to me, well, how are you getting your nutrition? What are you doing? And I would tell her everything. And, filled with carbohydrates, filled with sugar, filled with I'm an opportunivore.
Right.
And I was very proud of it.
And I like to say processed or processed carbohydrates, not just fruits and vegetables.
No.
But like
no.
all the white flour, fluffy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
All day long.
All day.
And all day long and lots of it. And,
Right.
it didn't help me that I was compulsive about it too. And I would just gobble too because I was happy, or gobble because I was sad, or gobble because I was excited, or gobble I had a great gig, or God, it was a tiring gig, or it was a long tour, whatever. I would eat over anything.
Okay.
Everything.
Right.
Being loved or lovingness. I would eat over it all. So, and that's the compulsivity in the lane, but it was also what Lauren told me and Leah told me, which was the thing that changed it all. See, in a 12-step tradition, which I was very much a part of, and I'm breaking my own anonymity, but it's for the purpose of educational purposes. So, okay. And to try to encourage others that might be in a similar role, is this for AA for eating? OA, Overeaters Anonymous.
Overeater, okay.
OA is Overeaters Anonymous, and I've been a part of it for 28 years.
Yeah. I think half our country would fall into that category.
I think a lot of people have it.
Even me, I could be an overeater some days,
A lot of men do not necessarily come to face it. There's not a lot of men in there. And so...
Ooh, that's interesting, Doug, actually.
It's definitely a thing. So I was surrounded by many, 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 many women who were, and great guides. I had wonderful sponsors and such. But the actual biggest focus was that this compulsive aspect of myself that was totally taking in sugars and carbs and not healthy carbs and not healthy sugars was a compulsivity that had no reckoning or understanding in the realm of intellect or there was no solving it. And in fact, through a 12-step tradition is like there's only... To try to think your way out of this, you would have done it years ago and you wouldn't be dealing with it anymore. So basically it was about understanding that it is a disease, and is a disease that is incurable. This is some of the different things that are being discussed all the time in a 12-step. And the only solution is a spiritual solution, and to have a spiritual connection and to do the 12 steps. I was definitely in because I was desperate, because I was really, really, really hurting. And I did follow that, and I was 28 years mostly not staying, quote unquote, abstinent or clear with it, and eating crazy food. Now, here I am with Lauren, and Lauren said to me, and this is where it all changed. She just said, I'm not disputing any of that dogma or any of that kind of intellectual thing. I just want to tell you something nutritionally. And nutritionally, inside your gut and inside your body is a lot of bacteria and parasites and whatnot that are in living organisms that are inside you. Everyone has them. And when you overeat or overgive sugars and carbohydrates and whatnot, which they are thriving on, they have a communication system which is going to your brain and saying, give me more, because that's the level I'm at and I want more. Now that, and that's way oversimplified. I am such not an expert in this.
No, that's pretty close. That's good. That's pretty much what it is. Those microbes have a mind of their own, and they're like, feed me some more sugar.
They have an intellect.
And it overrides your own brain.
Absolutely. And I did not know that.
Right.
I did not have that understanding. And by not having that understanding, by having the understanding in that bright moment of dinging my bell, it was like, wait, this is not just about having an incurable disease that I have no control over except to have a spiritual condition. There actually is something in my knowing and understanding nutritionally what is going down for me, that if I had a radical change of that it could actually circumvent and actually create some healing. I'm not throwing OA and all the incredible 12-step work that helps so many people all around the world, including myself. I'm not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, but I am saying that was a radically different message that increased my understanding of like, okay, well, wait a minute. Are you telling me that if I literally cut out processed carbohydrate, flour, sugar from my diet totally, and if I cut out dairy products, went into a pretty much strict vegan raw, which, like, again, everybody please understand, those words never crossed my lips. I had no understanding. I am seriously an opportunivore. So it was slowly brought to me by Lauren. Like, here's some ideas. Take your time, work at this. And then there's this whole regenerative process with using natural herbs and ideas about, like, amino acids. I had no idea about aminos and how they are definitely the building blocks of your proteins, so that you do not need necessarily I do not need to have, I'm not saying this for anybody, just so you understand. I'm talking about myself. Building to have my proteins being from animal products. And so it was just getting way, 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 way down to a very simple fruits and vegetables at certain points. And then we went through with herbal combinations of cleansings for liver, cleansings for my kidneys, cleansings for parasite, cleansing various parts of my body this has been a 7-month period. I just finished the last parasitic cleansing.
Wow, you've only been on this journey for 7 months?
7 months period.
Because I ran into you over the summer at a local friend's concert, remember?
Yep.
And I was like, Doug, you just looked so different to me. I mean, you've always been a handsome fellow, of course, but you had a different sparkle in your eye. And
it's very kind of you to say that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I've known you for years,
Yes, you have.
So I was like, wow, like, it was really noticeable. And you were so pumped up and excited to share. And one of the things that I'm really resonating with what you're saying, Doug, is that a lot of it, while you were told, oh, it's like a lifelong thing, you're never going to figure it out, but really the nugget was education. Like, to me, that's what your aha moment was like just putting these pieces together, that no, I'm not just like a a fallible guy. Like, there is a biological reason, plus some of our history, which we all have, right? But when you got that nugget of truth and learning about the basics of nutrition, it made sense to you, it seemed.
It was like a bell that rang through a lot of clutter. I mean, it did. And it was...
Clutter, right.
It was a lot of clutter, a lot of different, and she asked me, she said, well, your understanding and your work with the 12-step program, like, how well has that worked for you on these 28 years? And I really gave that very serious thought. And the truth was, because there's a saying of half measures avail us nothing. And I was a half measured dude and slipping and sliding all over the place. And, I'd say maybe 10% of the time I was really, truly abstinent and really trying to live a healthy lifestyle. So she said, that's not just because you don't have willpower. It's not just because you're like diseased and not controllable. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. It was an educational moment that radicalized me. I was like, oh my God. So then I became extremely willing. Like, I was radically willing. Like, let me know what to do. Now, again, I don't know anything. Like, I really don't know about nutrition. So she's carefully trying to suggest these different protocols. And and she's also very understanding of like that the cleansing process and the whole process of like down sizing and just changing your nutritional brings on a ton of emotional and psychological and I was very resistant and very questioning and very skeptical of like what are these different herbs and sold by a company and what is that about and what is this and she's just so skilled and she was just like, it's very natural, here's what I can tell you, just drink it in a little bit, you don't have to do anything, you can back off, you don't have to go so hard, I'm just giving you what places you could go, things you could do right now. It's a perfect time for you to try to do this kidney cleansing. Here's these herbs that you can take. You're going to do your citrus in the morning. It was like a real, like very specific things. Start off with citrus in the morning, warm citrus, some salt, acidify yourself, then more liquefied fruits like watermelon and then grapes, and then work yourself, and then these shakes that are high protein, definitely micronutrient filled shakes. And that was totally satisfying, crazily satisfying.
Right. And then you're also detoxing. So did you go through any like dark, ooky stuff with getting
Definitely the colon cleanse was quite an experience.
Okay.
Colon cleanse was quite an experience because,
I was going to stop for a break, but we're just going to keep going since we had a late start. So I'm just going to do a little announcement that we're broadcasting live from santacruzvoice.com. I'm your host, Jill Troderman, feeding your family, and I've got Doug Dirt Greenfield. All right, continue on. Let's hear.
Yeah, you're exactly correct. There was like a lot of cleansings going on simultaneously with these ideas of feeding and the kinds of nutrition. And so then it was like, we're going raw. And I'm going raw. Well, the thing of it was, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, okay, well, we're just going to be eating salads. We're not going to cook any food. This is all going to be raw. Well, here's what happened. And I was just blown away. So, for one thing, I was willing. I was just so willing. Like, nothing seemed like a struggle. Definitely some of these cleansing processes were like, whoa. And the biggest one was the colon cleanse, because it was definitely clearing things out. But the end results, as I was going through and staying on the raw, because you keep it very simple where you're trying to clear things through. First of all, it was no struggle. And everyone's like, are you crazy? I'm like, no. But the resulting 3 things that were most poignant was the mental clarity, the energy. My energy, okay, I'm an energetic guy. There's no doubt. People that know me, it's like, oh God, he's so energetic. It's hard to be around you. But I have a very positive sort of higher energy feeling just in general. I'm a half full kind of like approach person. Even with the chaos of the world, I feel like it's my responsibility for children to see that there is positive adults that are actually seeing the world as a really magical, positive place to live in. And so that's been my proclivity for a long time, even though I've lived through crazy chaos in my own right. The energy that I was feeling from this experience, these protocols, was crazy. Like, and the clarity, mental clarity, like everybody in my bands are going, how did you remember that song from 40 years ago? Or like, are you putting together all these different administrative tasks so clearly? And it was profound. There was like in time, and because I wasn't anesthetizing myself or creating brain fog from being in some kind of like carbohydrate fog or some sugar fog. And, and it really was a cleansing, but I didn't expect the mental cleansing. That was really cool.
Right. You probably thought, I'm just going to drop some LBs and my skin might clear up, but then the mental clarity and then that spiritual confirmation too. Oh yeah,
that's a great point. Because this is a big moment, like in my life. Like I'm 68.
It's huge.
And a lot of my friends, people I cherish, like dear friends for years and years who do beautiful work on the planet, are not necessarily taking care of themselves in a nutritional way. And it's very difficult to watch and very difficult to experience it. And also, because I'm having this radical change, it's really hard on other people too, because they're looking at me going, what are you doing?
Right. And then they might feel like, I'm not going to eat that around Doug, or now Doug's different.
Yeah. Well, there's all that. There's a ton of that.
Are people going to judge me now?
People definitely have been judging me intensely. And that's a whole nother thing of the cleansing process, because most people are innocently just throwing out like, okay, just tell me. Do you have cancer? Just tell me right off the bat. Do you have cancer? Why did you lose all this weight? Are you dying or whatever? So there's that. And then there's the people that are like, whoa, okay, no, that's not what's happening. And there's self-reflection. There's like, and I'm trying my best to not overtell the story and to give people information that's helpful to them and only what they need. But my natural instinct is to try to be as helpful as possible, which you totally understand, because that's what you're doing. And so it's a delicate dance. It's such a delicate dance. And I'm not that great. I mean, I'm just learning how to be that, like how to just curtail and be discerning about, and, and be gentle and understanding. Like people are suffering with this whole nutritional experience, and I'm seeing them really be hurt, and I know exactly what it feels like because I was doing it to myself. So, and nor do I think that this is an end game, like now that I've reached here, I'm at the finish line, everything's all cool. It's like every day I have to stay focused, and I'm grateful to do so because I've never felt better.
This is so exciting. I mean, I'm just thrilled for you.
Thank you.
And I think your enthusiasm is because if I can feel this great, my brothers and sisters can too. And you might want to feel like a zealot, like I'm a born again, but on a health level.
I definitely pray for my friends to be able to take whatever they can from whatever's going on with me, and I'm willing to share it all for sure, and the people and the contacts and all the things that go, and to find a way to feel as healthy as they can. Because I can tell you, one of the great motivations for me was the work that I do with children. Like, it's an energetic thing. You need energy to do this kind of work with kids, performing for them and whatnot. And I was getting tired. And I was falling asleep on the wheel of cars. I was having a lot of bad things happen. And I realized that if I really want to show up, I got to get healthier. And that's been one of the really beautiful kind of interconnectedness, sort of intertwined, is like that this new energy, I want to put it to good use. If I'm going to stay alive and be here, I want to do something good with it. So for kids, for my friends, anyone, I mean, it's it's been a journey. A lot of people are coming up to me, and and a lot of people are. It's also difficult where people constantly are looking at me, going, "Oh my God, you just look so great! Oh my God, you just," and it's like I just want to stay grounded. Like, yes, I feel good. I really do feel good, and I'm grateful for your comments. And I'm still me, and I still struggle, like everyone else on the planet, of trying to stay grounded and be healthy. And it takes a focus.
Right. And what I want to talk to you about some of the key things, for instance, with your gut health. Did you adopt a lifestyle where you enjoyed fermented food? Was that a big part of this woman's recommendation to you for gut health?
Especially now.
Right.
Especially now. There's some herbal. There were some herbal things that were happening where it was better to let those herbs themselves do that work. But now it's like full on. Like, I love sauerkraut, and and fermented foods, definitely beautiful, and they are great for your gut health. And I take a certain herbal thing that is a gut support. Gut is the key to it all. I mean, that is really the core. And it is your core, literally your core chakra. And so the
core and radical, because I named this talk a rock musician's radical journey to health.
It is radical.
And it's radical, and that means like getting to the core of things. And I think a lot of us, like I'm not excluded from this. I think, like you said, we all, no matter what health journey we're on, it's a daily thing. And it's conscious, but it becomes innate. It becomes something that is now just part of your life. And I think that's where your enthusiasm comes from, is because now it's not like you have to try so hard. It's not like you're pushing. It's like you're welcoming it. It's like you're receiving it.
If they could see me, I'd be pointing my finger at you going, exactly. I know, that is very good. Right? You're just making very salient points. And, and it's true.
I'll take a picture of you while we're talking.
And so I mean, I really do. It is like that. It really is like that. And it kind of, like, I know some people probably listening to this going, oh yeah, well, great. You had your moment of epiphany, and then you were able to lock into it because perhaps maybe you were desperate enough, which is often the case for me. If my back is right up against the wall, then there's nowhere to run, and then it's facing me right there, and I'm blessed with someone who's going, here's what I'm seeing, and here's a possible path for you to move into a different, radically healthier place. So I think everyone can get there. I mean, I really do think it was not some, supernatural, like, oh, this is what happened and, it only can happen to me. No, it's not even close to that. It's like, this is what's happening to everybody, and every day, like, there's just little moments where you could just slightly shift in your understanding of, like, how you might not have thought you could live without whatever, and then all of a sudden you started living without whatever, and you replaced it with, say, fresh fruits instead of like the big ice cream scene or whatever. You just made some decisions that were different, and that's just an off the hand thing. But there, it's not to say that anything's bad, the ice cream's bad or whatever, but just different kinds of decisions, and that it's possible, that it's really possible. And I mean, I just went to New Orleans. I go tour a lot, and I was touring in New Orleans, and I was staying at this Airbnb, and this guy's beautiful guy named Glenn who cooks this gorgeous breakfast in the morning, and I'm going, I have this protocol that I'm on, and he's looking at me like, dude, I am a 30-year veteran of Jazz Fest. I've gone there every year, and it's my mecca. He's going, you know how it goes here, man. Save it. Go back home and get back on your protocol. But come here, man. I'm a great cook. Don't you want to eat this? And it was so clear to me that no, I just want to. This path feels so good right now. I don't want to change it up at all.
Right, even when you're faced with those beignets, those donuts.
All of this stuff. I mean, you can't believe. And and everybody's like looking at me. Especially all the New Orleans people, they're like just shaking their heads going, are you out of your mind? And I know I wasn't.
And you weren't. You were in clear mind.
I was in the clearest mind I've been in forever. And that's when my Lauren goes, okay, Okay, if you can do that, it was inspiring to her because I don't think many of her clients took it quite as seriously and as fast. So, yes, I've had this change. People say I look a lot younger. I know in my heart is another place that has totally changed. I feel much more capacity for lovingness and being loving soul. I feel the self-love I've given to myself is totally being reflected back out, and I can give more to the planet and everyone else. That is huge for me.
Huge.
And yeah, the whole spiritual dimension of it is huge. There's been so many byproducts. So yeah, it sounds like zealot, but it really is, it really feels like that. And I throw it out there as if I could do it, man, anybody can do it. I'm like the most undisciplined dude I know.
It's attainable.
It is.
And I think we live in a society, I probably have said this 1,000 times, that we are in a sabotage society. Like at any corner, anywhere you go, any party you go to, there's always something to tempt us. But when you get really clear with that, you're like, I just don't eat that anymore. It's not even a thing.
It's not.
Like soda or whatever it is for you. Like, I just don't eat that anymore.
And really, and
it's not hard.
No, that's what I was going to say. Is that once you get into a groove of anything, really, all of a sudden it's just like your body and the whole communication's going on internally, and all your systems are going, thumbs up, man. I feel better. I don't exaggerate to repeat that I can't recall feeling this good my whole life.
This is so exciting.
I just can't recall feeling this good. And a lot of good things are happening. I mean, there's a lot of love that's coming to me through all kinds of different corners, babies and rocks and everything that I care about. And I'm, and it's so strong that it actually cuts through the incredible chaos of what's happening in the world, which is so horrific. And I'm not blinded to that. I'm way, way involved from a political and activist point of view, but it's giving me a grounding point that allows me to come from a place of love and understanding and then move forward with this power. And it's very radical.
It's radical. And what keeps coming to my mind, Doug, is wholeness. Because I think I don't want to say inauthentic, but when we're not in pure alignment with who we think we are, what our values, what our morals are, when we're a little off, a little askew, that's always in the back of our mind, like, oh, darn, that's really not who I want to be. And so there's like a little negative thing that happens, and you feel bad about yourself because you did this or that or whatever. And when we have a lifestyle that consistently plays on that, we kind of compartmentalize. And I'm feeling for you is that you are now this whole being. You're not compartmentalizing that part of you anymore. That you're embracing your wholeness of who Doug is, in a way. I don't know if that's too woo-woo.
No.
But it's a whole thing. Like this vision of whole keeps coming into my mind.
I think it's very true.
Like all parts of you are talking to each other now. There's no...
I think there's more congruency. I really do.
I think there is. Good.
I think there's much more congruency that's going on between Mondi, between spiritual, physical, and emotional health. All of them are lining up in a way that they haven't.
So exciting.
That I can remember, and so it really plays out on like even my difficult relationships. Like you're in bands 40 years, you grind on each other. It's the truth, brothers. We're brothers in arms.
I know some of your dudes.
Yeah, my dudes are good dudes, man. I love them so much. I was just hiking with one of those dudes, and I just played with the other dude. So, and we've had to grow into our acceptance and kind of like as people move through their different whatever's going on with family and such. And so I find myself being more at ease and more capable. Like I really do feel my heart has gotten into a new level of compassion and it's way great. It's just so great. It's easier to be alive, and I've not always been this way. Like I've been angry and scared and now like a lot. And I think that the nutrition plays on that, and I feel that's part of it. I feel it's a real part of it. And I was told it would be if you go through a series of cleansings and if you come to a baseline of real health and integratedness, that the results happen on all kinds of levels, emotional, physical, spiritual. And I have to attest that's true.
Well, hallelujah.
I do feel that way. Hallelujah.
Yeah, hallelujah. This is like radical health, radical truth. And it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Like, I'm just super excited for you.
Oh, well.
It makes me really happy. You're just putting more happy energy into the planet. Are you going to, we have to wrap it up in a few minutes, but all right, can you make more songs about nutrition now? Like,
oh, well, of course, our famous Dirt Made My Lunch, but you know, like.
Dirt Made My Lunch. My kid knows that. He sang it to me when I told him you were going to be on.
We just sang it today there in we were up in Bonnie Doon playing for the kids.
Sweet.
You know, I think, you know, like I just would like to throw out that, you know, this person that I've dealt with, she is very, very skilled. Can
Sweet. Can
I
say her name?
Her name is Lauren Borowski, and you know, I mean, she's the most unassuming kind of, not self-promoting kind of person, and I mean, she will go down in the history of me as a person that changed my life. She did. And I've cried over it. I've cried to her and with gratitude. And
Sweet.
I don't know, she's got it. Her website is Nourish what does it say? Let's see. Can I even read all that? NourishResetRenew.com. NourishResetRenew.com.
All right. Well, check out that lady. And I got to wrap it up. But we're here with Doug Dirt Greenfield. And I know you can go to his website, which is either the Banana Slug String Band and the Puffball Collective, which I highly recommend both because I'm a fan.
Thank you.
As super fan, Doug, it's just an honor to have you here in the studio.
Thank you.
It really is.
Thank you. Well, I was really grateful when you mentioned it, and I kind of love the work that you're doing. I think it's very, very, very important.
Thank you.
And it's great that you're helping bring all kinds of different people in their lives and try to inspire people to be healthy.
Thanks. That is 100% my mission. Is I want to be a connector. I want to turn people on to the good things, and like your story can resonate with so many people. That if Doug Dirt can do it, you can do it too. And please check out my website. I'm here to be of service for nutrition counseling as well. My website is Santa Cruz holisticnutrition.com. I've got new classes coming up in January. So peace out, everybody. Woohoo!